Welcome, everybody. I'm Joel Morgan, the pastor of Westminster Presbyterian Church, and I'm joined today by David Rook, who is the founder of True Recovery, which is an organization that runs recovery residences here in the Richmond, Virginia area. David is also a father, a husband, a son, and a person who is in long-term recovery. David, I'm really excited to be with you today and to just talk a little bit about your journey, but your journey then of starting True Recovery and what that has meant for you and why you've done that and why you continue to do that.
Cool. Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Joe. So, how I got here? So. In short, the state of Virginia had a much greater desire for me to stop using drugs than I had for myself. As a result of my addiction, I ended up in the criminal justice system and ended up in a local recovery community organization called the McShin Foundation. At about 6 months in recovery, while living there, I was given the opportunity to begin working for them at a low level kind of a gopher, a watchdog, kind of just making sure people were where they were supposed to be. And so I did learn in early recovery too that when I was trying to help other folks, or when I was focused on trying to make sure other folks were doing the right thing, when I was conspiring to do the right thing instead of the wrong thing, it relieved that obsession that I had with using. So service to other people, was key in early recovery and kind of set the foundation for, what I do now and where I've been since then. But I progressed through there, helped see growth at McShin Foundation from 35 beds to, I think when I left, we were managing 135 or 140 beds. It's not just a passion, I feel like it's a calling. To give back, to help, and to be involved in this. So I started True Recovery in 2017. We've grown to almost 200 beds. As you said, I am a community member. I'm involved with the Virginia Association of Recovery Residences, which is a nonprofit standardized certifying body for recovery housing, ensuring that folks who live in the recovery houses get what they need. True Recovery started with two lonely little houses in the beginning, and over the last 3 years, we've really grown to, the need is there. So, if the metropolitan area is 1 million folks and 10% of 1 million folks meet the criteria for substance use disorder, which is kind of nationally, the way it breaks down, statistically, there's about a need for about 5,000 recovery beds in this area. So this area could support that many. That's kind of where the numbers are. So, working with my own organization and then working with other organizations to help grow capacity so that we can meet the actual need that's here in the community. Can't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah. Well, so then, talk to me a little bit about, because I think you and I met around the time, probably just a little while after you actually started True Recovery. We started having conversations, and you came to me as pastor of Westminster and said, hey, do you think that church, as part of their mission, would be willing to help?
We reached out to Westminster. We worked out an agreement, and it really did work because people will come from our separate houses that may never cross paths with each other. Or they may cross paths at a meeting and not know that they're in the same organization. So with the center, when we bring them up here early on, when they first start with us and they get to know people, when they go back out to their 12-step meetings or whatever their recovery support meetings is, whether it's faith-based or smart recovery, they see other people that they met at the center. And from there, their new community of people grow. And so the idea is that not everybody's here for the right reason. Not everybody makes it, unfortunately, but the idea is that they will connect with like-minded people who are trying to recover, and that we can not only give them that community, but also give them things to be involved in and a sense of purpose and stuff like that. So it really has, that was really the driving force.
Getting them out of those homes and getting them together with a group of people, and then you can bring people in to help lead some group events and help them think about how they're thinking and whatever, and then get them to a place where then you can because I know your organization spends a ton of time coordinating rides to court and to visit kids and to do paperwork and all of that. And I didn't realize what a huge need that was especially for people that are early in recovery who haven't gotten their licenses back and they're still having to go to court and parole officer meetings and all that. I just all of that. So to then be a hub of resources for people and a place away from the house. So at least they have somewhere to go that's different than sitting in a house all day, which often then leads to a greater prevalence of overdoses. And what's happening now with the center, but also then in the larger community of recovery residences that you feel like is good progress?
Well, good progress is that the state legislator, the Department of Behavioral Health Development Services, lots of local municipalities are taking a greater interest in recovery housing and the gap that it fills.
Embracing, not embracing, holding on to old stigmas, stereotypes, all of that. Do you see any progress in that area?
There's a lot of opinion out there that really, which obviously society cares less about. We can tell that society cares less about science right now and more about their opinion and their personal views. But it is getting better. If it wasn't getting better, I don't think what we were just talking about, we would have that recognition. So I think that is getting better. So when people from a church are reaching out and we're making those connections, we're doing what the science says. Hey, this is how we create a better outcome. And if we can keep people engaged for that length of time and give them that, well, then we're gonna get what we're looking for, because addiction does breed in isolation. Usually by the time people make it to us, there might be a few key people left in these guys' lives, sometimes nobody. So, it's a lonely place, right? And like that's what stigma and the behavior that is exemplified by addicts does to us, right? It isolates us,
Yeah.
Whoa, back up. So when they come in recovery, it's absolutely important that people look them in the eye, and say, hey, I love you and I support you. And I think that we get that from Westminster. So it's pretty, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be really honest, because it was 7 months ago or something when we had our last meal together, and for me to look at that and go, yeah, because you and that guy probably would have never crossed paths otherwise, because you just live in different worlds, right? And so to bring that together for me is that's the beauty of the gospel, is like that we're all in this together. We're all human beings, and we do a lot of judging and all that, and we shouldn't be, because everybody's just trying to live a good and happy life, whatever that means for them. And so when you sit down and you break bread with somebody, it changes the relationship.
Because a lot of times the people in early recovery are thinking, they've got nothing in common. And then because so many people have been hurt by alcoholism and addiction, and because so many people only get their information from what's shown on TV, which is always needles and dirty spoons, they forget that there's a human side. So you're right. When we sit down and we break bread, the human side to both parties are shown to each other, and that's how we start to build relationships and move forward. Honestly, I can't, I wouldn't have spoken in front of a camera or in front of a crowd. If you'd have told me I would be doing this 8.5 years ago when I first started this journey, I would have thought you were crazy. I started my public speaking and talking about recovery in a jail cell at the Richmond City Jail back in 2012, late 2012. I started volunteering and going in, and since then, I've gotten a lot more comfortable. But it was other people that had those experiences. It was other people that spoke. It was other people that people listened to. So, but it was because people sat down with me. It's because I got to know other people. It's because people got to see the human side of me, not just the drug use, and of course, what I'd only showed them for 20 years before that.
Right.
So, but it's important that we do that. It's important for both parties, It's important for us because, we can truly end up in influential and leadership roles. And it's important for other people who are not struggling to see, look, there's hope. There's not everybody that's using drugs is hopeless and useless, So
Yeah. No, I love it. Well, so as we wrap up here, if there's something that you could ask of the larger community, what might you ask them?
I would ask them to be supportive. Um, you know, base your information not on traumas or experiences that you've had in the past with somebody in active addiction, but try to, do your research, find some people in recovery, talk to them, see the human side of it, see that there's hope, and then support whatever efforts that recovery people are telling you that need to be made to reduce the number of addicted people and to increase the number of people actually making it to recovery. Um, we've got a long ways to go. The drug war has kept us in the dark ages when it comes to addiction and recovery. And we've got to change it. So when you see an opportunity to support something, don't be afraid of it. Understand that the research is there, and we're not supporting and asking for, a free pass. What we're asking for is a healthier community, and we've got the solution to that. So support us when we're trying to, garner that support.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you, I'll be honest. It's been such a joy for me to get to know you, and then to get to know other people in the recovery community, and then to feel like I'm at least tangentially a part of it as I get to be in the center, and as I get to lead some groups, and as I get to speak in front of those groups, and be with them, and then relate a lot of that back to our congregation and to the larger community, asking for people to open their hearts and minds a bit. So thanks for taking this time today, David.
Thanks for having me.
I love the work you're doing.
It's fun, and we really do appreciate you, especially in Westminster, and that's how we do it, right? One congregation at a time.
Absolutely. Thanks.
So, thank you.